is pulling for Western on Friday night's game. He is from Western Schools, school counselor Josh Smith. Hi, Josh.
Hi, Bart. Thanks for having me on again today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good to see you. Last time I saw you, you were at the party on the plaza at Spring Arbor University.
That's right. Yeah, we love Spring Arbor University. And you are right, I'm pulling for Western this Friday. So we are always excited to play Lumen, and I think we're especially excited this week.
Yes, I think the whole community will be watching that. So when I saw you at Spring Arbor University, I noticed your daughter was wearing a JTV t-shirt. That's great. She's spreading our good word.
Yeah, a couple months ago when I was on the show, I think you kind of had her sneak around the back and let her introduce herself, and she does wear that t-shirt a lot. She does, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, so school is underway. How would you assess the start of the school year at Western?
School year is going great. I love it at Western. Just a quick plug for Western School District. I love working there. I have 4 children who are in the district, and we're glad they're there. Great teachers, great leadership. And this, I can't believe for all of Jackson County, we're 4 weeks in already. So we're a month into the school year, and things are off and running.
Everyone says kids are resilient. They can get up and brush themselves off and move on. But the effects of COVID, they are still affecting students, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And the children, students especially, are, as you said, resilient. And teachers help so much with that. School counselors, school social workers, principals. It's really the whole team that makes recovery possible. The really nice thing is with things kind of getting back into full swing is the technology that allows a parent to monitor progress is amazing. So things like PowerSchool, which I believe our audience would know what that is, and Schoology, and those technological ways that they can follow the progress of grades and attendance. It makes it a lot easier on not only the students but the parents to kind of stay in the loop on everything that's going on and not even have to wait until the end of the week for a report, but they can see everything every day. So it's really nice.
So the days of forging the report cards that kids would take home, those are over.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
I did that. Well, I didn't change the grades. I just added some positive remarks in the remarks column.
I'm sure you had a lot of positive remarks from teachers.
I did. Yeah. Most of them I wrote myself. So not just COVID affecting students' mental health, but things that have happened elsewhere. Oxford, Uvalde. That's I know every student does not get through a week without thinking about it. And how has been the impact at Western, and I guess how are you dealing with that particular issue?
So I think there's a lot of sensitivity to it in a good way. So I think students and teachers and principals and everyone involved, our liaison officers, we're all very sensitive to any sort of safety issue, as well as just trying to make school the focus. We're there for education purposes, but we want everyone to feel safe. And so as school counselors, we're consistently talking to teachers and students about, if you're upset, let's talk about it. And if you're hearing things, let's talk about it. And that sort of transparency is important.
I know families that shielded their kids from all news coverage of Uvalde when it happened, and I don't even know if it's possible to keep the news out of the kids' hands. But is that the way? Do you endorse that thought that if they don't know, then we're protecting them?
That's a good question. It probably depends on age of the student, and the parents know their students best. So I would say it depends. Obviously, we don't want to tell our kindergartners everything that's happening in those sort of situations. But as students get older and more mature, I'm sure they're able to handle some of the news. We're in a culture and society now where everything is known about everything and everyone, it seems like. So there is a sense in which you want to put boundaries around and say, like, we can't have information coming at us all the time. It's just too overwhelming. but it's important to know some of the details too.
But we are training our kindergartners how to respond in an active shooter situation, which is unbelievable. We have to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Last week, some idiot called in a bomb threat to Oxford schools, of all places. And the kids, I know kids that go to that school, and they are scared to go to school.
I imagine there's some of them that are scared and some of them that are angry about that kind of stuff too. Like don't mess around with that. Like that's not something to, and that's part of educating people too. You would think that people would know, but there's a part of that which people need to be told. That's not something we joke about. That's not something we just say in passing or think it's no big deal. And that goes for, and I know the police officers talk about this a lot, but that goes for not only like a call-in threat or saying it to someone, but that goes for social media too. So anything that a student puts on social media is the same as saying it to a person. So it's serious. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. There are certain things society understands, like you do not joke about a threat to the president. You do not joke about a bomb in the airport, and it's just not done. And everyone understands the seriousness and the penalties associated with that. We just don't have that yet in schools.
Yeah. And part of that's educating students, and part of that is educating parents so that they know what their students are doing on their phones and monitoring those kinds of things and modeling it at home too. To like, if you're a parent and you speak like that, then maybe it's going to trickle down to your student as well. So.
Well, as everyone expected, the studies, the results of 2 to 3 years of pandemic has impacted the education progress of students. They are behind. So is the stress of catching up, is that something students are feeling?
I think there's a certain amount of stress that goes along with that. The good news, if there is good news, it's that everyone's in the same boat. So it's important to remind students that it's not just Western, or it's not just Jackson, it's not just Michigan, it's the whole country, it's the whole nation that's kind of in the same boat of being behind, right? So don't panic that you feel like you're behind academically, right? We all have we've had impact from that. I guess what I would encourage is two things. One is focus on academics, definitely. Like, we want good grades for our students. We want them reaching their potential, doing their best they can, right? But there's also a second part of that that's super important that we try to stress in the counseling office and throughout Western School District is character matters too. So it's grades, yes, we want good grades. But I would rather have a 2.0 student in my house that has good character than a 4.0 student that's like a jerk or doesn't have that social IQ that we were talking about before, right? And of course, a student who does have good character and work ethic is probably going to have good grades too. But there's that secondary focus where we want students to grow up to be those responsible adults, to have the character. So some of the things we focus on are work ethic, consistency, and good decision making. Those employability skills. So here's an example to illustrate it. As every school does, we have seniors who come into our office and they're really anxious and overwhelmed because they want to make sure that they have the perfect school picked out and the perfect career field and the perfect GPA and the perfect schedule. And if they don't have those 4 things in alignment and totally figured out at the age of 18, then they're going to be unhappy and unsuccessful in life. And that's a lot of stress, right? So it's interesting to watch. They actually, you can physically see them relax in the office when you explain to them and emphasize to them that they're going to be successful no matter what university they go to and no matter what career field they go into if they have those good character traits. So whether they're going to be a teacher, an engineer, a welder, a plumber, a doctor, if you have good character and you have that work ethic and consistency and you make good decisions, you're going to be successful no matter where you go, no matter what you do.
And if they're super good looking.
That helps too.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt, right?
All right, so kids come home from school, parents say, hey, how was your day? Fine, what's new? Nothing. That's a response every kid gives in every home. But what can a parent look for to know that there is something that is bugging the kid that just isn't being communicated?
Yeah, great question. Again, the nice thing is you have the technology piece, so you can check the grades. But sometimes, like you're saying too, there's other things that are going on as well. And I guess I would imagine being extra withdrawn or maybe completely isolating, like I don't want to talk about anything, could be one sign. Acting out a little bit more might be another sign. Those would be two of the big ones. I would say if you do identify, I would suggest that if you do identify that your student is struggling, if it's an emotional struggle, then a call to the school counselor could be a good idea. Check in with the student. If it's an academic struggle, I would encourage parents to communicate and don't wait. So communicate to the teacher first. Sometimes parents might think that if they email the principal or even go above that and go to a superintendent if there's problems, that it speeds up the process, but it actually slows it down. Because the principal will often say, go to the teacher first. And so if you email the teacher and communicate, and this goes along the lines with what we were saying before, try to be respectful. Things like, some emails come through and they don't even start with a greeting, or they don't start with a compliment. Those are kind of things that are just the social awareness of you actually get the results that you want if you email the teacher and say things like, dear so-and-so, and then I appreciate all that you do. I was wondering about this, and I thank you for your time and consideration. I look forward to hearing back from you. Things like that.
No brainer.
No brainer, right?
I think.
Well, yeah.
All right, you brought a couple books.
I did.
Are these reading assignments for our viewers?
Well, just for a parent,
okay,
if you're interested. This is a great one for college and university, and it kind of goes along with what we just said. It's called Where You Go Is Not Who You'll Be. So again, taking the stress off of saying, like, if I don't get to the perfect university, I'll never be successful or happy. But this is about character. And again, work ethic, consistency, making good decisions. Where you go is not who you'll be. It kind of relaxes just a little bit in those stressful situations. The other one is one that's sponsored by Dave Ramsey, and it's just called Debt Free Degree. So it's about how do you save for college, how do you start thinking about where you're going to go without getting into hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt and kind of putting yourself in a bad spot. So if parents want to get them, great recommendations.
Yeah, the two big areas of stress. I remember the family members checking the mailbox every day before the internet was, I don't know if you get the notifications from the college that you're in, but it was like rushing home, standing by the mailbox waiting. That's a high stress situation. All right, well, great to see you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
He's a counselor with Western Schools, Josh Smith.